Howdy everyone, Kamisma here. I'm here to talk about Star Trek Into the Darkness. Just saw this movie last night and I gotta say, I was quite surprised. I did not know anything about this movie going in other than what you see on TV commercials. You know, the fighting of Spock and the bad guy, Harrison, on top of the ship, the crashing of the Enterprise onto Earth, the running of Kirk and McCoy through the red forest of Nibiru. That's pretty much all I knew. Now, watching from the trailers, I had the thought that the guy was genetically enhanced because he was human. He wasn't Romulan or Vulcan, you know, to convey the extra strength he obviously had. So he had to be human and genetically altered. So originally I thought, could it be Khan? You know, why would it be? I mean, Kirk has only been out there for a little while in space time based off of the last movie, so the chances of him finding the Botany Bay was very slim. Even if it is, especially since the alternate timeline, who says he's even going in the same direction? So I figured it must be someone just making genetically super soldiers or something. You know, like some Star Fleet experiment gone wrong. So he turns evil, becomes a terrorist, blows a bunch of shit up, a building, attacks Starfleet commanders in a meeting, and tries to destroy the Enterprise. The movie is really good. I mean, there's so many parallels between it and old movies that are great. The characters pulled them off. They pulled it off great. The guy who plays Spock, Kirk, McCoy, Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura, all of them. It was great. Truly enjoyed this movie, and you should watch it. Now I'll continue on, and I'm going to start talking about all the spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet and don't want to know this, click off now. So here we go. Harrison is Khan. So this movie is a parallel dimension version of Star Trek II, the movie, Wrath of Khan. But the thing is, there is no Wrath of Khan. It's just Khan. This is the first meet with Khan in this timeline. Because instead of Kirk finding Khan on the Botany Bay and then fighting it out and then he's stranding him on SETI Alpha 5, someone else in Starfleet finds him, resurrects him to use him to try to design weapons because they discover the Klingons and they want a tactical advantage over them. Bad thing is though, they used Khan's family, 72 other beings, not as powerful and intelligent as him, but down near close, including one of them his wife, if you know anything about the original. So he's coerced into doing it, but the whole time his super brain's going off, and he's like, I'll play along for now, but this is all a meaning to my own end. So he builds weapons, a starship, a massive fucking starship. It's twice the size and 3 times as powerful as the Enterprise, as they described it in the movie. Pure black, like it's supposed to hide in space from visual sensors. And the thing is pretty badass looking. If you go to the movie theaters, you'll see a poster of that big ass ship firing on the little ship Enterprise. And I did not know that from the trailers. I went into the movie blind, knowing only what I know from the original Star Treks, because I've watched every single episode of the original, TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and of course every single movie from 1 through 6, Generations, First Contact, Insurrection, Resurrection, Nemesis, all that. I enjoyed every single one. So now I have officially seen every single Star Trek movie, and I'm hoping for a third new one. Harrison, which is his fake name, starts this whole thing off in the beginning of the movie where they introduced a lieutenant, I believe, who worked at a library of sorts, and he offered to save the guy's child by injecting his super blood to basically heal her of her disease in exchange for a favor. That favor being he smuggles in a bomb and blows the fucking place up. And that starts the whole manhunt scene. And of course then, you know, because of the terrorist attack, all the top commanders meet inside of a room which of course he knows exactly where it is, and he attacks them while he's in there, killing half of them, including Kirk's father, Admiral Pike. It was quite a sad moment. And later, you learn that he's actually Khan, and you think, and they go after him. And they're about to use an experimental warhead just to attack Kronos, because he teleports himself to Kronos, the home planet of Klingons, and try to attack him with these new stealth missiles, which actually happen to be capsules for his friends and family, the other 72 of his kind. Kirk doesn't go along with it, wanting revenge for the death of his father, but thinking more clearly and trying to live up to his father's thoughts. His father was a staunch believer in the rules of Starfleet, so killing without a trial would definitely be against what anything he would think. So he's like, he wants to capture him. So they go down to Kronos, taking a thread completely incognito, and they get attacked by the Klingons, which Khan actually saves them from the Klingons and then gives himself up when he learns that all the torpedoes are on board. They don't know that his family and friends are inside of him yet, but they will. Get him on board. He tells them where to go look to see the crazy ship. It's right off of Jupiter, where they send Scotty, who just resigned because he didn't like the idea of using these warheads to begin with. So he gave his resignation. Throughout the movie, I was like, is this Khan? When I first saw him, I was like, is this Khan? I mean, he doesn't look anything like the original Khan. So I didn't know what to think. So I was like, is this Khan? He has to be Khan. He's genetically superior in every way. You see him one man, an entire Klingon, attack group. It's like ridiculous. There's like 20 of them, and he just takes them basically on one by one, like it's nothing. With a pistol, a fucking a plasma cannon, and then hand to hand like it's nothing. These are Klingons, for Christ's sake. They're like 3 times stronger than a human. So when he'd find them, and that brings me to a good point. I want to talk about the design of the Klingons. The Klingons in this movie resemble some of the Klingons from the last Star Trek movie, A New Hope, or is it called Final Frontier? Whatever. Number 6. And it looks like the one that was betrayed everybody in that movie, where it's very slender head, shallow ridges, instead of just the big blobs like Worf had in TNG, or what they're most iconic, remember. And they definitely weren't the white ones, which are explained in Deep Space Nine if you watched it. I'm not going to go in detail about it, because if you really know, you can search for it yourself. I enjoyed the Klingon design. So back to Khan. Khan saves them, surrenders, goes aboard, helps them find the ship that's being built by Admiral Marcus, in complete violation of the fundamentals of Starfleet. They get attacked by this ship, almost completely destroyed, and with a away team over to it, stop Marcus, but in turn actually giving the ship over to Khan, who now reveals his true intentions. He built the ship for himself. He just made it seem like he was making it for them. His whole plan was to get it out there, built, so that he and his crew could take over it and then annihilate anyone that they feel is inferior to him, because that is his whole dynamic. They strung me along pretty well. I gotta say that I thought it's an alternate reality. Maybe Khan's not evil in this one. But I guess blood, his hatred runs deep. Is that it doesn't matter. It's like in the first movies, you could almost explain the way he is because of what happened to him on City Alpha 5. But he's just evil no matter what. So it doesn't matter what happens. He may not be going straight after Kirk just because he hates Kirk now. He just hates everybody. So that's his whole thing. Another great thing I like, so I thought it was like, oh look, he's a bad guy. It's Khan. It's like, oh my god, it's Khan. And then I was like, oh my god, is he a good guy? And then it was like, oh, he's a bad guy. But he actually saves us from another bad guy who happens to be human, Admiral Marcus, who you did not think was evil to begin with. It was a complete surprise to me, and he went full evil too. It was like, it wasn't even like a gradual thing. Like, I can't like let you. It's like he's like literally his whole plan from the start was to kill off the Enterprise crew. I did not expect that at all. That motherfucker was truly evil, and there's a lot of people like that in the Star Trek universe if you know anything about it, which is a sad thing. So that's the whole Khan dynamic with Marcus. We can go on to the other characters like Spock. He played, I don't know who the guy's name. If you want to know, if I really want to know, I could just go at IMDb. You know, go find it. I'm not going to do that. Spock's portrayal in this movie was great. He was emotional at great points. He had good lines, like the whole back and forth with him and Marcus. I was like, "Are you giving me an attitude, Spock?" He's like, "I am portraying multiple attitudes. Which one of you are referring of?" You just gotta love his half-human side sneaking in there every so often, just to put a little jab in people that are messing with him. And of course, the whole scene with the dilithium chamber at the end, where just like in the original Wrath of Khan, they have to realign the crystals in order to gain back power in the warp core. In the original movie, Spock went in there, gave his life to save the ship. The needs of the many outweigh the few, or the one. And you get the whole great scene. In this movie, Kirk goes in there and saves the ship. And Spock goes up to him and sees him die. And he goes all pissed off. He actually does the classic Kirk Khan himself. Khan! Of course, in the original movie, Khan was yelled his name while he was on the planetoid. I can't really remember what the name of the planetoid was, but it's not important. He did it because he thought Khan was going to destroy his ship and he was going to have to watch it. He was not happy about that at all. And that's when Spock goes on his little rampage to go find Khan, teleporting down to the surface, chasing him down, which was a pretty crazy scene. They're just like running, getting it. He jumps onto a little drop ship and fight each other on top of it, beating the shit out of each other. Khan seems to have the advantage though. I guess he is stronger than Vulcans too. That's pretty crazy. It wasn't until Uhura beamed down and used like 12 stun shots on him, and then Spock pulled out a metal bracket off this dropship and smashed him in the face with it, and he didn't finally go down. And so you're like, then it's like, wait a minute, Kirk died. Why didn't you stop and talk about that? Well, when they first met Khan and they took a blood sample from him, you see McCoy trying to understand how he is so strong, how he can regenerate so fast. And he uses on a dead Tribble, which doesn't actually resurrect till the end of the movie. But at that point, you immediately realize someone's going to die, and they're going to use Khan's blood to resurrect them. It was so obvious that I was like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. And of course, Kirk dies, and they use Khan's blood to fix him. But led to a pretty good ending, honestly. It wasn't like we're just going to have him live just for the sake of having him live. It literally was, there's a chance we can try it. Because honestly, they could have just cut out there and been like, it was still too late, I guess. But it was so good. It was a real good movie. You need to go see it. I honestly say that. You don't need to see the first movie to 2009 Star Trek to go watch this one. I would recommend that one too because it's also very good. But you don't need to see it. All that would really explain is the alternate timeline aspect and why there's a future Spock. And well, that's pretty much it, really. I give this a great movie. Definitely 10 out of 10 for me. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I had high expectations going in because of my past experience with all Star Trek movies. So, if you don't enjoy it, I'm going to say there's something wrong with you. So that's it for now, and have a nice day.